Hey folks, testing out some hotkeys. Let's see if I'm actually live. Why, yes, I am. Beautiful. Hey guys, welcome to today's live stream. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about Bitcoin, what's going on here, and the incredibly bearish move we've had today, and how that is our bearish expansion for the week. So, we're going to pop over here and identify the required pivots. Well, first let's pop over to the weekly chart so I can just point out the benchmarks that we're heading down to, right? Again, a retest of the weekly 200 moving average is our most probable scenario, okay? It has been my prediction for over the past month that Bitcoin would dip down, well, more than a month now, probably 2 months. Like I've been saying this since we started shark charts, right? So we tested down on the weekly 200 moving average. We ran up, tested the downward expansion, and retesting this pivot again, and then it's going to test again, and again, and again. I've drawn this at least a dozen times in a dozen live streams, and here we are, finally playing out what we've drawn. Sure, the retest is happening a little bit faster than I initially expected. However, the retest is still on its way. Okay, now as this moving average moves up, so will that little trend. I forgot to record this. 1 second. Let's record this and talk about our short-term Bitcoin prediction. Which one? 3 to 8 p.m. signal? Is that one? Yeah. Let's do it. Okay, so we are coming down to retest the weekly 200 moving average once more. If we go ahead and pop over the 4-hour chart, let's take a look at the longest overexpanded period so we can determine what the new expansion will be. It is very important to note that we are testing the 3.2 standard deviation for the 50 band, which implies lateral trading, at least while this slope of this distribution begins to ramp up to actually enable the downward expansion. Again, the 3.2 standard deviation does tend to act as a hard brick wall for price. If you ever want a true overbought or oversold signal, use the 3.2 standard deviation, and personally for Bitcoin, I choose the 50 period. Okay, you'll notice whenever we do tag this value of the 3.2 standard deviation, it is a hard stop for price action. It is very difficult for price to move outside the 3.2 standard deviation because 99.7% of the data, assuming static distributions, does lie inside that realm. Okay? Now, it is incredibly important to note that the 3.2 standard deviation does not end trending. Okay? It merely acts as a short-term pivot for retracement. However, as long as the trend is still in an upward definition, right? Just because we're tagging the 3.2 standard deviation doesn't mean the trend is over, okay? What's most likely to happen is we're going to see a nice little volatility pop to the upside, and hopefully we'll be seeing a CCI roll down to provide us with short entries this coming day, okay? Now, let's actually go to the 1-hour chart to define the new expansion and what is actually measuring our trend and our pivot for either continuous trend or mean reversion. And do wait for the 3 to 8 p.m. to load up here, and we'll take just a moment. Let's make sure it hasn't timed out. There it is. Okay. Our longest overexpanded period does appear to be 110, so let's go ahead and change that band to match. And I do need to notify you guys, I am getting some Indian food delivered here, so I might cut this idea just a few minutes short while we wait for that to come. Okay? Or at least as soon as she knocks, that's when I'll be done. So, we are defining our trend as with the 110 band. You can notice some high price volatility as we attempt the new expansion. Actually, that is my mistake. We would not have been able to define that new expansion. We would have used the previous overexpansion, never mind, which was also 110. So yes, this wobbly range here is a symptom of the previous compression. It looks like we did have fail expansion to the upside and fail expansion to the downside. Honestly, this would have been a very difficult move to actually define for the beginning of trend. However, now that we have, well, hold on. How would we have been able to do this? Volatility overhead is pretty sloppy on the 4-hour chart. So let's pop over, or I mean the 1-hour chart. So we pop over to the 4-hour and take a look at the wave PM cross. Yeah, there's the signal. Right. Wave PM, I'm sorry, the wave PM on the 1-hour chart was significantly noisy. However, shoot, I can't believe I didn't see this. Okay, guys, first of all, quad CCI, everything is weighted below the negative 100 value. Next up, every single wave PM value is below the 0.7 value. And finally, our 14 period has crossed up above the 100 period below the 0.4 value, which implies the beginning of new trend. God damn. The signal was there and I missed it. Okay, so right at this location, you could have actually market entered shorts, very high probability. And obviously, we'd be taking profit now at the 3.2 standard deviation. And let's define how far we are going to retrace on the 1-hour chart. We are going to test this edge of the 110 band before continued trend down to the weekly 200 moving average. And again, the weekly 200 moving average is a very strong benchmark, which will allow us to enter more long positions on Bitcoin and higher confidence. From that point, we will not expect Bitcoin to bounce as high as it did previously, okay? Right? Since this was our initial test of the weekly 200 moving average, we did have our nice bounce, and now we're seeing the slow decay back to the weekly 200 moving average as predicted. Then we're going to have another cycle, okay? A secondary bounce from the weekly 200 moving average, which is not going to be as high as this previous move. And I'm going to make an arbitrary prediction. Shoot, you're not going to see me do this often, but let's let a Fibonacci retracement on here. I know, sacrilege is coming from me. Never mind. I don't want to do that. Right? Since I would actually need to define where this is retracing to. Okay, guys, that's it for today's Trading View idea. I'm going to cut this short. I think my delivery driver is here. So I will be back to the live stream in a second, and this Trading View idea is over. Cool. I have to go find my food. I'll be right back. Okay, so we are coming down to retest the weekly 200 moving average once more. How exciting! I have returned. Hi guys, welcome. I've got a huge bag of Indian food and I'm very excited for it. Okay, let me load up the live stream comments, see what you guys are doing today. I actually stopped out of my last 6 positions this week, which is, I mean, that's fine, right? At the moment, I'm only on Binance because US exchanges don't let me short. Well, well, hold on. No, I do have a long-term short on Kraken, but it's not the same, right? I do wish I could use BitMEX. Okay, let's pop open YouTube, see how you guys are doing. 14 people watching. God damn. How thoughtful for you guys to wait for me. A lot of comments here. Let me check one important thing right over here. Let me go to live stream questions. And if I sound a little winded, I did have to run laps around the building to find her. Okay. Honestly, if we break the 200 weekly moving average, your next benchmark is going to be the monthly 50. Okay. That's our first question for today. So, perfect. Let's pop over to the monthly chart. Okay. Also, if anyone can tell me the name of the indicator that lets me identify the weekly 200 and the monthly 50, regardless of what time frame I'm on, that would be like the most useful indicator. I'm sure I could just Google it. Hold on. Not Google it. Indicators. If I type in weekly, what do you think this is it, guys? Weekly overview. Probably not. If there's no line coming right through here, nope. This is homework for you guys. You need to find me my static MAs, regardless of time frame, okay? Okay, yeah, I was going to show you the monthly 50, excuse me. Nice. Mean reversion to the 50 MA is implied, I guess. Then again, mean reversion is implied all the way down to like $1,000, so chances are you might get fucked on that route. So think about this, right? This distribution was overexpanded. We re-entered the distribution. Now it's implied we'll revert to its relative mean. Ooh, that's unfortunate. It's a really ugly chart. Why do I trade this? It should become a Forex channel. 17 viewers. Hey, you guys are doing well today. I'm going to keep this live stream as long as I have food to eat, okay? And you're just going to have to listen to me eat sometimes. So I got garlic naan. I got really spicy lamb masala. I spent like $25 on this delivery order, and it's going to be great. They make it spicy enough. God damn it. I'm going to back the mic up a bit so you don't have to hear me chew. I apologize. Okay. If Philocone can eat cereal on his live stream, I can eat Indian food on mine. Right, monthly 50. Oh, I was going to type in BLX. Right. Since we can theoretically figure out what the longest overexpanded distribution is. I mean, it's just going to be maxed out regardless. So I guess it is technically implied that we'll revert to the 300 moving average, right? It's just whether that theory is more potent than the institutional benchmark itself. Okay, so yeah, there is implications that will go down to 2,370, but I will not make that bet until the weekly 50 breaks, okay? But quite honestly, we bottomed out. Like the previous overexpansion on this most likely was maxed out up above 200. I'm speculating, right? And we still found support on that weekly 200 band. All right, so if I pop this over to 200 again. All right, now let's zoom out on this previous crash pattern. All right, guys, I'm just predicting that we're going to see the exact same thing that in the previous crash pattern, right? We re-enter its relative band. We revert straight down to the institutional benchmark. We bounce once, 2, 3 times, and then there's an upward break in the short-term 50 band. You see that? This upward break in the 50 band. That new upward expansion defines the new upward trend. Okay, so really what we're seeing on Bitcoin right now is kind of the same symptom. All right, where we're just going to get this bouncing price directly on the weekly 200 moving average. Beautiful, like so. And the mean's going to travel down to meet price. And eventually this 50 distribution is going to compress. And when that 50 distribution expands to the upside, that's when we'll actually get bullish moves on Bitcoin. Okay? It's a really clean chart. I mean, if you just want to sit back on these larger time frames, you're going to have a really easy time making this money on Bitcoin. If you just trade like the weekly, daily, monthly, that's going to be your best bet, guys. Really. Yeah, I released a lot of swing trade calls on altcoins. Even the daily and 4 hour are going to treat you really well. You know, sure, you can define pivots for trend on the 1 hour and such, but, well, I won't say it again. Yeah, let me go ahead and check the comments you guys wanted me to look at for today. Discord. Live stream questions. Okay, people had some discussions in here instead of just questions. Great. Euro CHF on the monthly. Okay. Pop over to the monthly chart for us. Okay. And really fun fact about the monthly chart. Oh, I need to go on a longer exchange. Nice. There we are. Okay, and I do have this set to 50 and 200, right? Okay. As per usual, we see a strong definition on the pivots of the 1.25 standard deviation for this. Damn, guys, I really need to trade with the 3.2 standard deviation more often because this chart is just so clean with those pivots being respected, right? And it's really important to note that you don't necessarily take positions when you hit the 3.2 standard deviation. You take positions when you re-enter the 3.2 standard deviation, okay? That's really a much better bet for you. Awesome. Now we also had, you know, just looking at this chart, these, since we're using institutional benchmarks as our distributions, right, the 50 and the 200, you can really tell how well respected these are as pivots for a trend, right? Now, it's also important to admit, this is just like a classic example of high price volatility at key pivots, right? If you attempt to cross the 1.25 standard deviation and the slope of the distribution doesn't agree with the direction of trend, you're going to get these huge candles like so, okay? And really, just over and over and over again, it's really going to define the trend. And you'll notice, you're going to get the most dojis, the most engulfing candles when you're right on the edge of the 1.25 standard deviation of your institutional benchmarks, right? Just think about it like this. You have institutional investors defending price action, okay? Or rather, defending their interests, okay? Because institutional investors aren't always right. They don't always agree with each other. They just take what's most probable, okay? Okay, so think about it like this. If you're inside this band, you're going to get lateral trading, as defined by the band. And when you're outside the band, you get defined trend. Beautiful. So it would make sense that if someone has trillions of dollars in a long position, right? Well, then obviously you're going to put more buying pressure on this pivot. And somebody who has a lot of short positions is going to put a lot of selling pressure on this pivot. So if you have institutional investors who don't agree with each other, well, you're just going to get high price volatility. And guess what happens when you see this high price volatility and price actually breaks one direction or another? Well, that's when you actually see huge consistent green candle closes or huge consistent red candle closes, because that institutional investor with trillions of dollars in their position is now forced to slowly iceberg out of their position, where they break up their position into smaller chunks, and you see sustained selling or sustained buying to compensate, right? Because they can't just close their market position or close their position at market. It's literally trillions of dollars. For every seller, you need a buyer. Okay? So with this in mind, you see insane price volatility whenever you have these pivots with huge candles that agree with the direction. Let me get a plate and a fork, as I'm just kind of looking at this food while it's still in the container and it's messing with me. These are really nice charts. Okay. And you will hear some quick shuffling while I prepare this. Excellent. I just spent a lot of money on Indian food. Hooray. Good stuff. I just need one bite, guys. Hold on. So good. Okay, but you actually want a prediction on this, right? Okay, well, here's your prediction. You're inside the BAM, and you'll be retested the bottom of the BAM. So it is implied, at least for now, we will sustain above 1.1. Okay? So this is at least apparently short-term bullish. Sure, we have our 50 distribution compressing in. Really, if you want a long, sustainable position, you should wait until there's upward expansion to 50. However, because the slope of price volatility, because the slope of probability volatility does not agree with the direction of trending, you will see high price volatility at the pivot. Okay, that's my prediction here. GBP USD. GBP USD. Same thing, guys. Always these same pivots that are fought over. Really, it's ridiculous. Trend is defined on the 4 hour. I like it. So, if we have such a nice definition of trend, what do we need to look for? We have a true overexpansion of the 200 period. That's good. Okay, and our 50 period is overexpanded as well. So, really, you're going to look for a short entry around this pivot. If you enter that, you're going to see some strong mean reversion. Let's see how far down that goes. It's going to be nice. Over 1%. Then, it is important to note that this still can go further parabolic as long as the upward expansion is sustained. Okay, back to the comments. Yeah, GBP USD is still trending. It's a very clean, very obvious trend. That looks sustained to me. Let's check if there's any benchmarks here. Yeah, okay. So I'm thinking that short position is going to hold out pretty well, right? Because guess what we're tagging? We're getting a red candle close inside the 3.2 standard deviation. You know, if you want to hop on that short pretty early here, let's set this up, okay? Really, you want to wait for that pivot to be crossed on the 4 hour chart, but let's just draw this in now. And I might even just publish this idea. Right, because as soon as we start seeing some compression, since we are tagging the 3.2 standard deviation, it's a really good profit ratio on this short. It's a great chart. There's a 3% downside, okay? And it would play in rather well with the range that this is making. And it's important to note, you can still get like a few more candle closes to the downside. Well, this wasn't a true 3.2 standard deviation tag. I guess just what we have right now. Yeah, this is a really clean short position. So look at this. When you get that red candle close inside the 3.2, you usually see some pretty strong mean reversion. Like here again, red candle close inside, mean reversion. And you do need to note that there will be some fighting, or at least, some distribution. There will be some distribution, and not in the sense of probability distributions, but in the sense of people with a lot of money supporting price as they shed their bags, right? So they'll put up walls, buying pressure, and the price will just trade laterally, or like these moves like here. So they have time to shed their positions before reversion happens, okay? So I'm actually going to make this prediction. Price is going to trade laterally with high price volatility for several days. It's going to look like a bull flag on the shorter time frames. But because we're touching this benchmark here, rejection and mean reversion is highly probable. It's a really nice chart. I do recommend trading this. And I am going to make a trading view idea about this, because why not? I'm going to call this. This is a good chart. Okay. Thank you for telling me to look at this. This might be a great short opportunity, my friends. Just do note that we are going to see probably some nice wicks to the upside here. Really, your best bet for short entry is going to be on the 4-hour chart and looking for the appropriate CCI roll down, okay? Really good, really good. Upland Mine says, does this guy always eat on the camera? No. I ordered some expensive food and I wanted to eat it, so I am. Okay? If you care about my eating habits, well then, I'm sorry. Yeah, Diesel, shouldn't we be expecting a reversion of the monthly 50 MA, or is that only implied if we break the 50? You mean the weekly 200, right? It's only implied if we break the weekly 200, okay? Right, we're going to get some really good profit ratio trades on the weekly 200 just because of the nature of the benchmark. And I am going to be setting up a lot of new long positions on Bitcoin when that pivot is hit. And I'm actually going to load up more funds on my Kraken account for a leveraged long right on that weekly 200 moving average. Because as we've seen with Bitcoin's daily chart, looking at the previous crash pattern, it was very well respected. And I'm gonna go pretty hard in that position. I think it's gonna be worth it, because I think it's very improbable that we'll just smash straight through it right now. We need to retest it at least a few more times. Everything is down. Will there be many mean reversion trades soon? Yes, absolutely. I've got my eye on Ito. Ito right now, it looks really nice. And this is going to be a really long-term trade, right? Since trend is very nicely defined to the upside, as soon as we see an upward rolling CCI, except this downward expansion is nasty. Shoot. Okay, so nothing on this yet. It's on my radar, but it's a really clear defined trend, but we just broke down support and there is new net expansion to the downside. Yeah, I'm sorry. Not as good as I wanted it to be. It was looking decent 2 days ago. Zill. Yeah, I'll take a look at Zill. And get a few more questions in, guys. Because I'm just going to live stream until I run out of food. You know, usually when I'm live streaming, I get bored. Because, I don't know. But since I'm here with this wildly entertaining meal, I am happy to continue doing this as long as you guys are entertained. Oh, it looks pretty similar to Ito. Nice. Okay. Sure. If you want to scalp this, go ahead. Let's just draw it out for you. The CCI is rolling right now. That's a crazy-ass downside, though. Never mind. That's like a 6% downside, only 1.5% profit ratio. Christ, guys, look how well tagging the 3.2 standard deviation is as far as like defining reversions. It's a really good way to take profit. This one you wouldn't have caught. This one you would have. Although, really, I mean, you could have caught this tag as well. I should really get into more of this volatility trading. At least this edge of volatility trading. And really, the more mass you have, the better off you're going to be when you tag that 3.2 standard deviation, right? If you have a relatively compressed bag or band and you test that 3.2, it's really not going to work out well for you, right? Because really, when you're getting a new sense of extreme expansion, right, tagging outside those outer standard deviations, right, that's expected during a time of extreme compression. We can take a look at this right here. And this should go in your note, guys. This is really important information, right? If we have all this huge net compression, right? Look like the wave PM here. And even this upward weighted wave PM cross was a sign of a new breakout of a trend. That's really clean. But you'll notice we blast straight past the 3.2 standard deviation, right? Well, it's not really going to matter because you're coming from a place of low mass. And when you do run up and touch the 3.2 standard deviation, like in these instances, well, in these instances, you have a mass rating at least above the 0.9 value. And when that happens, it's going to act as a much harder brick wall than, say, if you were looking at it during a place of compression. It's a really clean chart. Okay, let's go look at TRX. Guys, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom here. Really. Like, this is some of the best trading information around, and I'm giving it away for free. And yet we have 11 viewers. I'm really interested in a way to like really multiply my viewers. I'm not a social media guy. I'm not good at that. Like, the most interest we got in this channel was when I made a 4chan thread and I answered people's questions, right? I am really curious like how I can genuinely boost viewership, right? Because I'm really giving away some important stuff here. All right, TRX. Maybe I didn't eat on the streams. More people would watch, right? Okay, quad CCI strategy. Let's just do that. Cool. When we get the CCI roll, boom, that'll be a long position. However, I don't know. Your stop loss would need around 10%, and that's not really worth it. All right. I want to see a little bit more compression here before a long position. I want to see some lateral trading. I'm going to see this band compress around price. When that CCI rolls up, that'll be our long, okay? Of course, downward expansion of the 50 band will result in reversion. That'll be clean. Okay. Maybe if you think if I live traded with a couple Bitcoin, that would get some viewers? I would enjoy that. Okay, we did TRX. Let's do the Dow Jones. DJI. Ooh. Really, looking for that short signal is going to be difficult. But volatility is still increasing. 200 is the longest overexpanded. Oh my goodness. We've almost seen reversion to the 200 moving average. You know, if we do touch that 200 moving average, whew, that might be the start of our new downward trend, my friends. Let's be really careful with this. This is just a really clean, defined plume. Right? As soon as we get this new retest, that's going to be a good trade. Very nice. She got a loon. Hey, Upland Mines, I haven't seen you around. Thank you for joining the stream. Tell your friends. I do this every day at 1 p.m. So really, come and join me on this learning adventure. Longest period is 350. We have not reverted to that mean yet. We got to see a little bit more retracement on this bad boy. Okay. Okay. If we come down and retest that 350 moving average right there, might provide us with a pretty good long position. I kind of want to see how this has reacted in the past with these kind of overexpanded distributions. Right? Because do these wicks result in significant trend? That's the important question. Well, it's the first of its kind. Oh, no, here's one. Yeah, these breakouts don't seem to result in the beginning of new trends, so this does feel like an artificial move. I would recommend to leave this one alone for the time being. Nick says, I would say 4chan thread is pretty effective. I personally found you there. Okay. Well, thanks, brother. Always happy to give away free information, right? I make a living from trading, and I make a living from, you know, what I sell here. My number one priority is just to build a community rather than rake in your shekels. Right? Because if you're profitable, well, that means you're my customer for a longer period of time, right? So it's really motivation for me to provide a good product. BTG's taking a shit. Ooh. Such a bearish day. We're going to the weekly 200, my friends. Really. But, yeah. Somebody mentioned earlier, we can't expect a lot of mean reversion trades as soon as we start getting these roll-ups. It's just hard to define which charts are going to be really primed for that, you know? Whichever coins are having the hardest downward moves, that's going to be the answer, right? Like Ito, right? Because if we go to the 1 hour chart and find our longest overexpanded period, right, we're defining a new trend here. It appears to be through the 140, okay? I don't know how well respected that's going to be. I'm a little dubious about this. Yeah. I mean, with just quad CCI strategy. Actually, guys, if you want to take a quick scalp long position on Ito right now, that's a good idea. We're tagging that 3.2. Just go for a 3% upside, 4%, you know? Yeah, you're betting against the trend, but again, that break wall is very effective. Okay, let's take a look at XEM. Whew. Man, oh man, not even a relief rally on this bad boy. There's going to be a lot of overexpanded periods here. We're going to get a really good mean reversion on this guy. 450. Let's take a look. I can just tell you right now, we're nowhere close to the mean reversion pivot. Because this new overexpansion is absolutely ridiculous. Do not bet against something with no buying pressure, okay? Yeah, your mean reversion pivot's at almost 1,500. So stay away from that one. Someone send Shark more food, yeah. Guys, I don't know. I need to like have a donation button where that just lets you send me food. I do accept Grubhub gift cards. Let me put the lid back on this. All right, because I'm eating pretty slow here. Okay, Ethereum. Whew, a lot of downward expansion. That's so clean. Guess how much you bet we're going to see a really clean... Actually, no. It's not a clean chart at all. All right, we got a short signal right here. That was our short signal. Everything's weighted to the downside on the CCI. New downward expansion. It's really clean. You know what, guys? I need to transfer more funds to Kraken. I just need to take these really clean, simple signals on altcoins because, goddamn. I need to keep an eye out, guys. Really. Salt. Holy hell. Guys, do you like range trading? I'm going to call this. I'm just going to fucking call this. Right here. Right now. God damn, that's a clean chart. Yeah, I considered applying for a job at Salt not too long ago. They're actually in my hometown, and I figured... actually, I'm working on my Series 6 right now. If I actually do finish that up, and I might apply for that job. Hell, guys, this is a really nice chart. What kind of upside do we have here? 15%, 16? Shit. Let's go all in on Salt. I mean, we're tagging the 3.2 standard deviation on the downside. Every time we've done that, we've reversed 10%. All right? Like right here. I don't know, guys. I think I'm going to get a position in this bad boy. And then for a stop loss, let's just set a lower low, right? Because that's pretty obvious. Let's do like a 4% downside and a 16% upside. Okay. Let's have a pretty wide buy zone here for the sake of safety, right? And let's take profit right there. And we'll do another one right there. Christ, this is going to be really wicky. So, with this kind of position, guys, you got to be careful. I might just, like, make this a really wide buy zone. I know that's... Okay, I know how to solve this. Layer your buys. Okay, that solves all the problems. Bam. I'm just gonna like load up a couple Bitcoin and just layer through this entire range and hope the swing trading keeps on going. Because this is just so clean, guys. I mean, if you see something like this, there's no reason not to trade it. Because it's, again, you don't bet that a trend is going to end until you see the pivots crossed. And you aren't going to bet that a range is going to break until the pivots are crossed. So, let's just bet on the continued trading of the range, right? Okay, let me start this trade up. Left price scale. Okay. Oh, I need to get my template. Shit, I guess I'll do this later. I can do it now. Who am I kidding? Really, the end of trending on Link was really disappointing. It was such a clean call. I mean, we had the perfect retracement value onto that MA. And downward expansion just is brutal. And I actually had to layer out of this position because I was in pretty deep. I had to like sell over the next 12 hours. So that one hit me pretty hard. All right, what's that? Oh, right. I remember why I opened that. Duh. Okay. Copy this bad boy. Buy in. 5552613. Stop loss. Roughly 5. Six, 3. 696. Yeah, 2 weeks is good. I'm gonna say this one's medium high. Call strength medium. Cool. Long. Trend analysis. Okay. Clean stuff. I'll post that to the Trading View Ideas in the near future. Get your final questions in, folks. I'm going to look at a few more, and then I'll be on my way. I went hiking on at about 25 miles of hiking in the last 3 days. So I'm actually going to take today pretty easy. And I got some work to do, admittedly. Everything is red today. Oh my god. Except waves. 330%. I gotta day trade this. Let's actually look at waves on the 15-minute chart, because there is money to be made here. Just waiting for my 3-wave pam. Actually, I'm gonna load up the... No. Let's check this out in the 3-minute. You can probably get some cool stuff down here. Like this mean reversion right here. I want to see what this period overexpanded to, and then figure out what kind of long position we could have taken. This is such a gradual sustained move that it didn't actually cause any mass. Curious. And then as far as this goes, we can define trend by the 160. Nothing really I want to trade here right now. I would check out BNB and then I'll be done for today. Okay. Quite the sell-off. Really, quite the sell-off. Oh my god. $200 period. That's what I got loaded, right? No, it's not the 200. Okay. 1 second. Short-term mean reversion is implied. If you want to scalp this real quick. Upland Mines, we actually have a playlist on how the videos work, or on how the indicators work, excuse me. If you click on the channel, go to playlists, and then just click the only playlist I have, right? It's going to be about 2 hours of content of just describing what the indicators do and how they work, okay? It is a pleasure to have you on the stream. Again, I do this every day at 1 p.m. So, really, stick around, man. Come and see what I got for you. Cool. Let's see here. I'm really tempted to go hard on this. It's a 5% upside. Mean reversion pivot has been crossed. Okay, I guess what we can do is wait for a... shoot. What's going to be the best way to enter on this? Yeah, this is a new downward expansion, but because it was such a violent move, there does need to be some quick consolidation here. Might try to put a buy order right here. 1782. Let's see if I can catch that. As far as the 4-hour chart goes, yeah, this has crossed its mean reversion pivot. I would stay away, okay? Quite the dump today. I'm going to grab a long. Why not? It's going to be a quick 5%. And I could use that, I'll be honest. Okay, folks. This has been fun. This is Dad Shark. And I'm signing off. Oh, look, my hotkey didn't work. Okay, we got to work on that. Bye, guys.